Welcome back to Real Quick Picks. We're going to go through the picks real quick, and then we'll talk about the whys. So first we have Spivak, Zahabi, Jamal Emmers, Casey O'Neill, Nate Landauer, John Costanida, Luis Pena, Danny Chavez, Tom Aspinall, Phil Hawes, Chris Dawkis, Charles Rosa, Caitlyn, Vera, and a little bit of both here. Derrick Lewis is the heart choice. Curtis Blaydes is the brain choice. We'll get into that later and more.
Alright, so to begin, we have Sergi Spivak versus Jared Van Dara. I picked this one pretty quick, and really it's just because, what's going on here, man. I feel like one guy's in fight shape, one guy's not quite in fight shape, and I don't want to discriminate here, but we can't all be DC. It's not that easy. You can't just dad bod your way to victory in the heavyweight division. I'm going with Spivak here. Moving forward, we have Zahabi versus Draco Rodriguez. This one was kind of hard to pick, but ultimately I went with Draco Rodriguez being kind of the younger fighter, and Zahabi being the younger brother of his head coach, Zahabi. And I'm just going to assume that the IQ's kind of on their side. They've got a good game plan, and they're going to be able to implement it on the younger fighter. Alright, next we have Chaz Skelly versus Jamal Emmers. Now I'm surprised Skelly's not just a nickname. I picked this one also pretty quick here, and not to make a big deal and seem like I'm body shaming, but kind of what's going on here? This just like, look, I'm not just trying to body shame. It's a real look at the potential goat of MMA. Look at him just exhausted at the end of the workout, just going. The core is important. It's important to the goat. It's important to me. I am going against Skelly with this one. All right, next we have Shana Dobson versus Casey O'Neill. This fight, you kind of have, the older, more experienced, seems to be journeyman fighter of Shana Dobson going up against the young up-and-comer of Casey O'Neill. And I'm going to be honest, this kind of gives me Macy Barber and Roxanne Modafferi vibes, but nonetheless, I'm going to go with the younger fighter this time in Casey O'Neill. Next, we have Nate Landauer versus Julian Rosa. So for Nate Landauer, honestly, initially I see that he's got a win over Darren Elkins. I didn't actually know that, and that's impressive to me. I do respect Darren Elkins and the losses, the fighters he's lost to. Then moving forward, when you look on Julian's side, you kind of scroll down, and then you see, what is this? A loss to Artem Lobov. Yeah, we're not going to be able to pick him. We're gonna go against the guy who lost to Artem Lobov. All right, next we have Eddie Weinland versus John Costanida. Looking into this fight, last time we saw Eddie Weinland, he was going up against Sean O'Malley. Gave us a glorious knockout finish there. He got finished. So, having said that, this was a pretty hard fight to decide on, so ultimately I just kind of went with age here, the 29-year-old versus the 36-year-old in Eddie. So we're going off of age, father time. All right, next we have Jakar Close versus Luis Pena. Now, I'm not going to lie, I am kind of a Luis Pena fan, but on top of that, he just looks kind of like he is towering over this man. Is it just me, or is he look enormous? So, at any rate, we're going to go with Luis Pena here, and then we'll actually get into this next fight just right now. All right, now that next fight was Jared Gordon versus Danny Chavez. I really just wanted to share this because they were getting a little, aggressive and barky at the weigh-in here. Now, I'm going to pick against Jared Gordon because of whatever's on the back of his head. It looks like he was trying to shave before the fight and messed up. So if you can't focus there, then I'm going to assume you cut some corners in training. I don't know. But if you don't like that reason, Jared Gordon is kind of, doesn't have the momentum that Danny Chavez has with the 4-win streak, although Charles Oliveira is not a bad loss at all. You could argue that just gave him more experience, but it was really just like a quick TKO. I don't know really what you learned other than you got kind of your ass beat. But anyway, that's what we're doing for that one. Next up, we have Tom Aspinall to probably knock out Andrei Arlovsky. With this one, honestly, if you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. Good luck, Andre. Next up, we have Phil Hawes beating Nasruddin Imavov. I gotta go with Phil Hawes just because I doubted him last time against Jacob Malkoum. He got knocked out in 18 seconds. It was rough. I'm not gonna doubt him. I tend to do that after I get proven wrong. And I guess I don't want to completely count his opponent out, but this is the second fight in the UFC. He's got to go up against Phil Hawes. I guess Phil Hawes is, I think, on a second or third fight as well, but at any rate, I'm just leaning toward Phil Hawes for this one. Alexi Olynyk versus Chris Dawkis. With this one, I'm kind of just going with age here, out with the old, in with the new. Although I really like the boa constrictor. He's got some crazy submissions. I wouldn't be surprised if retirement's coming soon, though, to be honest. Chris Dawkis on his way up, knocking people out, trying to get paid. Charles Rosa versus Derrick Manor. Derrick spelled interestingly, in my opinion. I didn't really know what to go off of with this one, so I ended up just siding with, American top team affiliation versus whatever disorderly conduct is. So that's the pick for that one. Next we have Caitlyn Vera versus Jana Kutenskaya. This was, honestly, as we got closer to the main event, I realized that I got less interested. It was weird. It was like, I don't know how I felt about this main event. But at any rate, Caitlyn Vera, with this pick, I ended up just kind of going with her. I was impressed with her win over Sijara Eubanks. She's honestly not really lost a lot. I didn't really notice. Now, she's kind of been doing well for herself as well, only losing to some, pretty high level. I'm not sure who Tanya is, but Aspen, Chris Cyborg, respectable losses, but at any rate, I'm going to go with Caitlyn Vera here. Then last we have the main event, Curtis Blaydes versus Derrick Lewis. I mean, I joke about how Derrick Lewis is the heart pick, Curtis Blaydes is the brain pick, and what I really mean by that is it's just hard to go against the wrestling prowess that Curtis Blaydes has been showing lately. Now, the reason why, other than being a huge fan of Derrick Lewis, I mean, who's not a big fan of Derrick Lewis? Everyone likes Derrick Lewis, but if I were to actually say something other than it's just, the heart, Derrick Lewis fights with his heart, I've got a heart for Derrick Lewis. Now, honestly, if you look at it, though, Derrick Lewis doesn't really get taken down and held on the ground by anyone except for, this man who's an Olympian at wrestling. And meanwhile, you have Francis Ngannou and Derrick Lewis. I've always thought they have kind of similar fighting styles. And, if you agree with me there, and they kind of do have similar fighting styles, in your opinion, you see that Curtis Blaydes tends to do good against everyone except for Francis Ngannou here, 2016, I believe, another Francis Ngannou knockout. So I kind of feel like Derrick Lewis can do it too. The one thing that's kind of alarming is this age difference, although with heavyweight, I feel like it's just a little different. I mean, we just had the greatest heavyweight trilogy of all time between Stipe and DC. On average, how old are they, like 38? I don't know. So I think I'm going to put money down on Derrick Lewis. I think everybody else should put money down on Curtis Blaydes. But those were the real quick picks. I'm excited for it. If anyone's interested in the fight odds, here they are. I try to go through this and kind of ignore them. Just don't really focus on them when I'm picking my fights because I'm not too interested in them. I'm more interested in, my hunches. I feel like it makes it a little more fun. Look at those odds, though. Derrick Lewis. I mean, what the payout, So it's interesting. This is actually the first time I'm getting a good look at the odds here. But at any rate, I think it's going to be a good fight card. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it a lot.